back for another update on the Safe and Sound protocol, and I am at the end of the protocol. I actually went through all 5 hours and then went back through hours 3, 4, and 5 again for a second time. And I'm done with all of those at this point. And what happens at this point is that during the next 5 to 6 weeks, you can continue to see changes shift. One of the largest changes that I did see was awareness. That was one of the biggest shifts in me during this time. And so we're going to talk more about that. But first, I want to mention a paper that I found that was published by Lesley University. The title of this is Healing the Body Through Awareness and Expression, the Polyvagal Theory and the Expressive Arts and Therapy with Women Who Have Been Abused. So this is talking mostly about the polyvagal theory, which is what the SSP is based on anyways. So it definitely connects into that. And this research, this was a student thesis, and this research actually relies a lot on the work of Bessel van der Kolk. He is the author of The Body Keeps the Score, which if you haven't read that book, is a wonderful book, but it is all about how trauma is impacting the whole organism, body, mind, and brain, and how everything gets stored from trauma and affects us lifelong. So this paper mentions that an individual's body with a history of abuse would adjust the autonomic nervous system to make it easier for defensive mobilization strategies to fight freeze flight behaviors, and this does affect self-regulation. So this is a lot of what we've been talking about in other videos, and how our body is stuck in certain states and has a hard time shifting out of that because of trauma. In fact, this paper actually talks about how even with exercise, somebody that has been through trauma, even after mild exercise, they're going to have a harder time with self-regulating their heartbeat to normal. They have less vagal regulation of the heart and an inability to rapidly re-engage vagal regulation. So there's this alarm system in the brain, and when it's turned on, it automatically triggers these pre-programmed physical escape plans in the oldest parts of the brain, which has a direct connection with our bodies. So when the old brain takes over, it shuts down the higher brain, which is our conscious mind, and instead it prepares the body to run, hide, fight, or on occasion freeze. If the flight, fight, freeze response is successful and we escape the danger, we have access to all of our running head, is what this says. But if those responses are blocked, and examples of how those responses get blocked are things like being held down, trapped, not able to take action, and this is such as the case in rape situations, molestation, domestic violence. And the brain keeps producing stress chemicals, and the electrical currents in the brain continue to fire. And this will actually continue after the event is over, and the brain will continue to send signals to the body to escape the threat even though it no longer exists. So survivors are constantly in alert even when there isn't a threat. This is what happens, we get stuck. So survivors have a lower threshold to express fight, flight, or freeze behavior in response to stress, and have a hard time going from that mobilization to calmness. Instead, they have regulation difficulties with behavioral states that are more self-protective, and this results in difficulty in feeling safe with others and being able to develop trusting social relationships. Again, what we're talking about with the SSP, and how SSP is actually meant to help us be able to engage more socially with others. This then recommends using the polyvagal theory in therapy with survivors, which would be the SSP, of course, as well as there's other ways to use that theory. But then using that will help them become more aware of their bodies, and it allows for a reconnection to happen with themselves and others. And it can help them to feel safer and be able to then build those trust and relationships. And then those people who use that polyvagal theory, and in this case we're talking about the SSP, are able to understand how their nervous system functions. And they become aware of this and are aware of how it's happening in their body as well. This allows them to reconnect with their body and be able to learn ways to self-regulate when they are triggered. The other thing this paper mentions is musical mapping, which would be another interesting thing I think to explore, but that kind of goes into similar to what the SSP is, but it's actually about finding music that affects those certain states and using that on your own essentially. So if you're interested in that, please explore. But what I really want to talk about is my own awareness and what I experienced. So the SSP definitely shifted my awareness during the time using it, and I've definitely seen an increase in just understanding my different states. So one, using the SSP just taught me about those different states, but then I was actually able to find myself shifting out of them with the SSP. So the SSP did do that to my nervous system. If you watch some of the other videos, you'll see that I talk about feeling different things that I haven't experienced before. So there was definitely shifts where I was, being shifted into another state, and it helped me to better understand when I was in the various states too. This helped me to more logically process a response and what state I'm in. I even had more body awareness. I noticed that massages started feeling better. Before, I couldn't always feel my body either, so I was able to feel more of the body sensations of emotions that are going on inside of me, as well as just being able to feel physical touch better. If someone says go with your gut feeling, I've always said, what's that? It never hit me in my body anywhere, so there's a greater awareness of that as well. And over these various weeks that I've done the SSP, I've definitely seen some shifts in relationships, bringing in relationships, having more connection with others, and that awareness is really what we're talking about today, though. So just wanted to share, some information that will give you more perspective on the SSP and what it's attempting to do. I will share a link to this paper in the notes, and you can access that yourself if you'd like to read more about it, because there's other information in there as well. But just know that one of the purposes, one of the intentions of the SSP is definitely to increase that awareness, and that's a big part of understanding how to shift things in yourself, is just understanding your different states and being able to then function, shift from a different state because you understand where you're at and maybe what you need to do to shift it.